I'm here at LAX, and even though I was born and raised here for the last 30 years, much to my surprise, here at American, they have this off-site fuss required. Oh, you've got to be warned on that one. Terminal 60 out in the middle of nowhere. No phone service, so be advised. In American, you do have phone service. At United, you don't. I'm here at the Portland Airport PDX taking the MAX light rail, the red line, into Portland. 12 stops. This is Amtrak's Cascades service in cooperation with the state of Washington, providing service between Portland and Seattle and beyond on both ends. Interestingly, this train runs almost a half hour faster than the Starlight. I'm here at Portland Union Station, where the Southern Pacific Shasta Daylight used to depart towards Sacramento, and the various Burlington Northern Pacific trains used to depart up to Seattle. Likewise, the Empire Builder toward Spokane and eastward to Chicago. There's a signboard that includes now such local trains as the Cascades. I'm here at Portland taking the Empire Builder, the, if you will, Spokane-Portland leg. There's also a section that runs from Spokane to Seattle. We'll be doing that on the way back. As we cross over to the northern side of the Columbia River coming into Vancouver, you should note this is Vancouver, Washington, and not British Columbia. As we move along the Columbia River, along the route of the old Spokane, Portland, and Seattle Railroad, a subsidiary of the predecessor lines of the BNSF, we'll be coming into Bingham and White Salmon, thereafter Wishram, if you will, the Dalles, with only 2 stops before getting to Spokane, that is Pascal. Just as we come into Washroom for the Dalles, noting that the previous pronunciation of the previous station was Bingen, you can see the old water line, much like the old water line for the Lake Bonneville, which became, in its reduced state, that of the Great Salt Lake. And here you can see, as we come through on the Columbia River, the previous water line. As we see the bridge for the Union Pacific on the southern side of the Columbia River, we're reminded that one time the Union Pacific used to have also service to Portland, but instead connected in Denver instead of our version, which connects in Spokane, but both eventually running to Chicago. The one in Denver for the Union Pacific had 3 sections coming from Chicago, respectively called the City of Portland, the City of San Francisco, and the City of Los Angeles. As we're here on the beverage, snack, and lounge car, we're reminded that this train is powered by a diesel because you can smell it. Here we're stopped in Pasco, last stop before we get to Spokane, where 3 trains arrive and 3 trains depart. This is the dining car on the Amtrak Empire Builder. It's only on the leg between Seattle and Spokane and Chicago. Here on Amtrak's Empire Builder, we're starting off with a bit of breakfast. I'm going to have the French toast. As we cross the Snake River, continuing our journey on the Amtrak Empire Builder. Here in Wenatchee, we get a chance for a smoking break. Here we are at Leavenworth, the Grand Central Station here in Leavenworth. As we leave Leavenworth, we can see that the nature of the scrub and pine has shifted to deciduous, and we'll be coming on to Everett. But before we do, we're going to go through Stevens Cut Tunnel, one of the longest in the U.S. Here we are in Everett, second to the last stop before we get to Seattle. As we say goodbye to Edmonds, the last stop. As we slowly inch into Seattle's King Street Station, the terminus of this empire builder, I am pleasantly surprised to find out that the reputation of a really horrible Emperor of the North conductor at least no longer is true, or is just no longer. Here at Seattle's King Street Station, I'm looking for the new subway. It's called the International Chinatown. It's not marked at all. It's over there. Here's today's schedule, taking the train from Seattle to Portland with the Cascade, that's a Talgo train, set side by side with the Starlight. And probably one of the main reasons that the Cascade is faster, it's a Talgo train. That's an articulated train allowing higher speeds. I'm here at Seattle's King Street Station. The three relevant trains are the trains to Vancouver and the Cascades to Portland, as well as the Coast Starlight, which goes all the way down to LA, and the Empire Builder going to Chicago. We started our journey in Portland, taking the section thereof to Spokane on the Empire Builder, came west on the Empire Builder, the section that goes to Seattle, and we'll be going south from Seattle to Portland on the Cascade, and then further south on the Starlight. Here in Seattle, across from the King Street Station, and not very well marked at all, and not to be confused with the light rail, is the Sounder train, normally running only during the weekdays for commuter service and during games. This is Seattle's Union Station, not to be confused with the King Street Station where the Amtrak trains operate out. Remnants of the two systems, SP, Great Northern, Northern Pacific, and the SP and S. This is for the Sounder train. One of the reasons this Cascade service between Portland and Seattle and sometimes beyond is of its peculiar construction. These articulated, single-wheeled Talgo allows the train to lean, thus can go faster through curves. These Cascade trains between Portland and Seattle, because of their Spanish heritage, reflect both audio service and Wi-Fi. We're stopped at Kelso Longview, and currently we're running 25 minutes late, but still a bit faster had we taken the Starlight. As we pull into the Vancouver, Washington, not to be confused with the British Columbia station, we're the last stop before we get to Portland, and we're running about 25 minutes late. As we cross into Portland side of the Columbia River, this will be the terminus of the Cascade, at least for the funded portion by the state of Washington. While in Portland, we're going to be stopping at the train museum, which headed up the Daylight train, which was the predecessor to the Starlight. And in fact, we're taking the Max Orange Line to the museum, and it happens to be the world's longest single devoted tramline bridge in the world. Here in Portland, we're taking the Coast Starlight, originating in Seattle with a long layover here in Portland. This is where the Southern Pacific Shasta Daylight originated. Going to Emeryville, taking a bus to San Francisco City. As we leave Portland, some 30 minutes late, this leg of the Starlight now starts what was originally Southern Pacific's Shasta Daylight service. Went to Sacramento and joined the San Joaquin Daylight. I've just made dinner reservations for 6 p.m. here on the Coast Starlight on the Amtrak, and I'm saying thank you so much. Running about a half hour late, we're stopping in Salem. Here is the snack car on this particular version of this Amtrak Starlight. We're here at the Eugene stop, and currently we're about 20 minutes behind schedule. We're here in the dining car as opposed to the bistro car on Amtrak Starlight. Probably one of the most featured trains for that very purpose. As we reach the longest portion between train stops of some 3 hours in the southern part of Oregon, it is so out in the middle of nowhere that we've been reminded there's not even cell phone service. This is the lounge car and has the snack car downstairs. And this is the nighttime version. Be apprised the snack car does close at 11. We open at 6:30. We're stopping here in Klamath Falls where there's a little bit of a longer break and a change of crew. This is Dunsmuir, a former rail depot on the SP line, not what it used to be, and it's about 12:30 at night, running a little bit late here on Amtrak's Starlight. This is Reading. This is our Reading stop, and as we're now in California, everything's just a little more hip. And this is the Chico stop. Here we are at a renovated Sacramento station. So as we continue our journey on the Starlight, we've stopped in Reading, Chico, and here we are at the renovated station in Sacramento. Proceeding on to Emeryville. By the way, if you'd taken any other train, you could have made a better transfer to the BART had it been in Richmond, but interestingly, the Starlight doesn't stop in Richmond. Continuing on to San Jose, San Luis Obispo, Los Angeles. Here inside the Sacramento station, along this frieze, among interesting facts, is that the reason Mount Whitney was named after Mr. Whitney, he was a geologist who was able to declare the alluvial fan a mountain, thus getting paid more for the Central Pacific in their initial construction. Here's the local plan of the Sacramento station while it's being renovated, while we have a 1-hour layover stop. Here's a heads up. You got to be apprised with the renovations here at Sacramento that it is a long walk from the train, which is way over there, and the station, which is over there. Here in Sacramento, here's an example of the Capital Corridor trains that run from Sacramento to San Jose and occasionally a little bit further. Here's the Davis stop. As we pull into Martinez, the second to the last stop before we get to our transfer point at Emeryville, because there is none at Richmond, which would have been convenient for the BART, we can observe one of the old SP trains that ran this route. is Emeryville. While having a 10-minute layover, we're not going to do that. We're going to be connecting to San Francisco, which is appropriate for the thruway bus included in your ticket, on the southbound trains. Northbound trains do that at Oakland Jet London Square. So as we say goodbye to this portion of the Amtrak Starlight, we'll be connecting again at San Jose. I'll be doing that. Instead of going to Oakland, I'll be taking the Caltrain, the old route of the original Daylight, all the way from San Francisco downtown to San Jose. The various connecting services from either Oakland northbound or Emeryville southbound have a number of choices, but I do prefer the Transbay temporary one in that it gets you into the system faster. Here at the Caltrain terminal at 5th, the old Southern Pacific Daylight trains used to originate from a similar station that was at 3rd, but that's gone now. And we'll be taking it down to San Jose, noting that, if you will, the boards show the departure time, and also little color codes indicate whether it's fast or a very fast train. They call it a baby bullet. As we pull into Palo Alto, this was one of the stops on the former Southern Pacific's Daylight train that ran this route, as we're taking the Caltrain to connect with the modern version of the Amtrak Starlight at San Jose. Here at the San Jose station, which is also called San Jose Diridon, which can be confusing, you can not only catch the Caltrain and Amtrak and some of the local services, but also something called the Altima Commuter Express. No vending machines for that. That's a service that runs to the east side all the way to Stockton. It runs only mornings into San Jose, afternoons from San Jose. So while I'm waiting here at San Jose for what now has turned out to be the late Starlight train, I did check the train status by calling 1-800-USARAIL, USA Rail, and you ask for train status. They'll want to know the train number, in which this case is 11 going southbound, 14 going northbound. Here comes our southbound Starlight. Each one of the trains has its own special character. Probably the most notorious is that of the Sunset Limited, noted for what even the Amtrak personnel call a fried chicken route. When I came down from Portland, the character of the train I was struck was a bunch of hustler cowboys. And of course, the Empire Builder, retirees. As is sometimes rarely the case, this train is also carrying a private coach car from the old California Zephyr on the Burlington. It was a dome car. See if we can get in. Maybe not. Here's the schedule for the last portion of our Star Trek train tour. And as noted at the train museum, and is confirmed here, the train now runs 2 hours slower than it used to 50 years ago when it was the Southern Pacific Daylight. This is our Salinas stop, southbound on the Starlight. And this is Paso Robles. Here at the Cuesta, which achieved the ability to get to San Luis Obispo on the coastal route on the part of the Southern Pacific, is noted for its hairpin turn. Here in San Luis Obispo, we have a little bit of a pause. It used to be that you could take the train northbound and then take it back southbound. Now they changed the schedule so they don't quite overlap nicely. And our train's making an unscheduled stop here at Rover Beach. One of the things to look for is the launching pads here at the Vandenberg Air Force Base. This will be the 3rd of 4 times on the Starlight that they have failed to be able to provide dinner. Your other choice is the little bistro car, which has a leatherette hamburger a soggy Italian sandwich consisting of soggy Italians and a hot dog that is neither. As we leave Point Conception and Point Alama, which is accessible by a county road, we'll now enter Hollister Ranch, which should not be confused with the clothing company of the same name. This is our stop at Santa Barbara. Well, this time they did a make good by offering free Subway sandwiches. Now we're passing the former hippie community of Summerlin and the former town of Santa Claus. As we pass Emma Woods State Beach and come on to Ventura Fairgrounds, we're reminded that the Starlight no longer stops in Ventura. Next stop, Oxnard. As we arrive in Oxnard and back on time, given the abundance of slack in the schedule, we should be noting that we'll be detraining only in car number 12, partly because of the very sharp curb at the station. What's interesting is they only announced the detraining in car 12, which I bet some folks are going to miss because, interestingly, they only announced it once. On the other hand, they do put passengers in the cars for the respective departures. One can easily pace the train near State Highway 134 if you're so inclined. There's Simi Valley, which replaced the Chatsworth station, just as the Burbank Hollywood Airport replaced the original Burbank station. As we pass by the Van Nuys Airport and come into the Van Nuys stop, we're reminded that there used to be a throughway bus from Van Nuys to West LA, but no longer. The last two and the next two stops are what are called D-train only stops, meaning you only get off and can't get back on, and secondly means the train can leave early. In fact, we're already 8 minutes early, and likely, as they do throughout the system, put tons of slack at the end. We may even come in 20-30 minutes early, just like airplanes. As we pass rapidly by the Glendale station, a former stop on this route. As we fly by the old homestead and the last remnants of Taylor Yard, even the diesel sheds are gone. The only remnants of where the daylight locomotives used to park, well, there's still Metrolink. Arrived here at LA Union Station some 20 minutes early on the Coast Starlight. I'll be taking the brand new Expo line to Santa Monica